Soul Garden. Live, love, be.
Good morning from my smartphone to yours. I'm casting love from the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California. And it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Good morning and namaste, and welcome to Namaste today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Witecki. My modality is psychic astrology, and my mission is to stand in my heart and help other people into theirs. This webisode is for Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. No shift, huh? Friday, January 29th, 2016. And today, things are electric because the great human walk has reached step 9, Aquarius. Hello, my friends. Such a pleasure to be of soul service. Thank you for logging in. We have a probably pretty powerful weekend ahead of us based on whether or not you're going to change frequencies or not. In fact, I would imagine that politics have gotten really crazy in the last 24 hours. Everyone is making decisions with what vibration they belong with and what vibration they don't belong with. And today, with step 9 ruling the day, you may have no patience, or you may find that things just take off on their own. So let's log into today's vibe, shall we? Today's vibe is sunny with a chance of electrical storms. By electrical, I mean lots of conversation, lots of truth being shot out of people's mouths, a lot of shocking things happening. This kind of shock fest is really the breakaway of two belonging consciousnesses. In other words, you might have thought you belonged with one camp, and now we belong with another camp, or at least we're officiating what camp we belong with. And you might have done that politically or personally or spiritually in the last 36 hours. But this particular year, I think because of all the changes of Scorpio, because of the changes of us being past Pluto at 15 degrees, now at 16 degrees, we're kind of over a big human hump. And so right now we really are starting to see a new territory of teams and the way things are going to look in our daily lives. So let's break it down to something a little bit more tactile, shall we? I think today you're going to want to act on where you belong. So you'll find that anxiety is high if you don't take action on where you belong. This might be as simple as raising your hand and voting in class and saying, you know what, I belong with this camp. Or maybe as complex as registering as a different, political, on a different political side, or deciding to move to a new town, something like that. But today it's time to act. Now, you may feel afraid. That's because the moon today is crossing what we call Black Lilith. Black Lilith is basically past life conscious fear that we bring to the table. And so behind everyone's decision today, I think everyone is afraid of letting themselves down and making the wrong decision for themselves. So that's okay that you have that fear. Just make sure you're not, you're not going to let yourself down, that you have your heart's interest. But I'm just saying that the fear makes sense today. What we're receiving is divine guidance. Venus is at step 7. So if you listen, you will receive guidance either in dreams or meditation today. And I think that we are also, our minds are also logged into that. Mercury is continuing to conjunct Pluto. So it's the death of an old and the beginning of a new. But because it adds to 16 adds to 7, it really is divine. So in essence, what's happening today, I believe, is you are starting to see a shift of power on Earth. And this shift of power I'm going to talk about in today's topic, but it represents a whole new eon, I think. And I think that this is really a spiritual plan no matter what happens. I think that this is a spiritual moment because it's happening in Aquarius. So in other words, just follow your senses, follow your intuition. But the last thing is that Mars has reached step 14, Scorpio, which means our egos are ready to just move to the new promised land. Nobody has any patience to hang around in something that's broken anymore. Nobody has any patience to tolerate, leaky faucets. Everyone wants out. They want out now. And I think people are going to be impatient about it. So try to be patient with yourself, as I expect the world to be very impatient this weekend. So your joy question, you choose to accept it, is act on what you intend to frequent in your life today. If you want something to be in your life frequently, you want to create that frequency today. A frequency such as being in a state of love, a frequency such as always seeing someone you care about. It is time to act on what you want to frequent and not act on what you don't want to frequent. All right, let's move on to today's topic and get serious about frequency. Today's topic is Aquarian frequencies, the music of manifestation. Now, I don't know if you study astrology or you're just coming into this sort of study, but at the end of the day, most of everyone, whether you want to go to quantum mechanics or you want to talk to spiritualists or you want to talk to yogis or Buddhists, everyone always says that life comes down to energy. And energy comes down to frequency. In other words, how frequent does the energy spike and go down again? That basically is what life is. If we frequent something or don't frequent something, and how frequently do we do something creates our frequency. And really the character of who we are is based on how frequently we do certain things. So I'll give you an example. The planets tell us how often the human race deals with frequencies by each of the planets. For instance, Pluto only revolves around the sun once every 249 years. So its frequency is 1 every 249 years. That's one lap every 249 years. And basically what that is every 249 years, something in the human race will go extinct. It's not really death, it's extinction, right? And you can go all the way down to the sun, which the Earth frequents around the sun once every 365 days, right? You too right now are setting up your frequencies for the year. And you are also attempting to find what frequencies you harmonize with. So I would argue that when you're out there trying to find your people, you're really not out there trying to find people who are like you, but people who frequent at the same rate that you do, whether they, have sex at the same rate, or they socialize at the same rate, or they get married at the same rate. I think that's really what comes down to comfort in human life is the number of times that we do something in a given set. And that's where sacred numerology really comes into play as well. So let me post to you a 5 o'clock question to think about through the weekend. And this is really a mind quest for you. In your life, what do you want to stop frequenting? What do you want to go extinct? Because I argue something will go extinct by Monday in your life, forever. Simply because you don't want to frequent it anymore. And the follow-up question, what in your life is not frequent enough? So I'll answer this myself. What do I want to stop frequencing in my life? Well, I already decided I no longer want to feel anxiety anymore. I want to feel comfortable in my own skin. I never want to feel bad in my own body ever again. And I really believe that that's ending through meditation, yoga, all this stuff that I'm trying to launch. And it's not easy. It's difficult, I will say. But I really am so tired of feeling anxious or unhappy in my body. I want that to stop frequenting. But what I want to start frequenting is more love and joy. And I argue that when it comes to manifestation, sorry for the noise here with our helicopters. We'll just let it pass for a second because we can't retape. Okay, so I argue that when it comes to manifestation, everything begins at their frequency level and ends at material level. So in other words, if you are just a complete newbie at making something manifest in life, you can make it manifest by simply doing something over and over again. By creating a frequency, things start to organize around that frequency. In fact, the way I understand masters versus novices, as far as the spiritual realm is concerned, is how long one can hold a given frequency. A master can be frequently holding that same note over and over and over again, whereas a novice cannot repeat the same talent over and over again. So you might ask yourself this weekend, what do you want to repeat? What habits, what behaviors, what do you frequent over and over again? And if you simply stop doing that, you will begin to change your frequency, whether you believe in astrology, numerology, God, Jesus, whatever. The same goes true if you begin a frequency. If you begin to always say every day that you are grateful, like I always say in my text services at 5 o'clock, always ask you what you're grateful for. By frequently naming what you're grateful for, you will begin to generate other reasons for the universe to bring in things that you're grateful for, and you will law of attract gratitude just from the frequency of being grateful. All right, I hope that helps you. Keep that in mind. What are you ending and what are you beginning this weekend? And let's take a final look at the planets in our Zen Den. and welcome to the Zen Den. And before affirmation, let's just take 3 breaths and connect to our higher self. And an affirmation for you for the weekend. Today I am ready to accept and receive the frequency of love within me. Today I am ready to accept and receive the frequency of love within me. And that's basically it. You know, if you are confused in life and not sure where to navigate, I know I've been feeling very uneasy in the moment in different places. At that moment, really, just go with where your heart wants to go. Where does your heart frequently feel good? Where do you frequently feel love? That is your vibration. That is your neighborhood. That is where you belong, my friend. Okay? So let's take a look at the planets here with our little overhead graphic. And there's a couple of things I want to point out. The first is, let's zoom in on the moon. The moon is in Libra for most of the weekend, but today we'll cross over Black Lilith. Now, Black Lilith is at step 17. Step 17 means that we are going to decide or not decide whether or not a certain fear actually can get us. All right? Now, if you're in my personal Sensei service, I will be texting around 12 in your personal Sensei about where I think those fears might be popping up for you, not just in your daily life, but in your long-term life. So I'll give you a little fear alerts there. But recognize that fear is false evidence appearing real. And what we're deciding is we're not going to sit here and succumb to fear, but rather actively put light into this. So expect to do just that. Now, if you look at the graphic, the moon is opposing Uranus as it crosses Black Lilith. In fact, Black Lilith is opposing Uranus exactly at step 17. So this is really the turning point, a very quiet turning point, I must say. I don't think everyone will be out campaigning like Trump and Clinton and Bernie Sanders, but I do think that everyone will quietly turn a corner or not turn a corner with fear. And because of this will basically determine who's really an adult and who's a child. People who are still succumbing to their fears will not be ready to move on to the new Uranus and Aries at 7, and move on to the new wombed man or the new strong inner self. And those who succumb to the fear will sit and cower and watch others go on. So this is a turning point. Some people can face their anxieties within them. Some people cannot. Of course, I encourage you to face all of yours, but recognize this is a turning point. Now, looking over in Capricorn, which is basically what rules and what controls our life, we have this stellium here, this stellium of 7s. Do you remember just a few days ago we had 3 5s, and I said that was really the mark of the devil? 3 5s where you can completely shut out light and love. Well, 3 7s is nearly the opposite of that. It's not just lucky in Vegas, it's lucky with spirit. So today and through the weekend, we are opening up to our spiritual, where we need to be, where we sense. And both Mercury and Pluto are as well. 1 plus 6 makes 7. So our mind is really turning or drawing a line now with the past and the future. And this line cannot be crossed. I think people, this is one of those moments where if you're not ready, you're not ready, and you're going to learn from that perspective. Now, the other interesting thing that came to me when I was going into breath meditation just now was the 8s going on in Pisces. Neptune and Chiron are both crazy 8ing it right now. Neptune is at step 8 and Chiron's at step 18. And this is actually what we're going to be working on next month when the sun goes into Pisces, which is how high we go spiritually or not. But I want to argue that because they're both at step 8 right now, people are basically making a decision, I decide step 8, with whether or not they're going to have faith, Pisces, or not have faith. So it's a real clear line here, I think, with this moon and Black Lilith and opposing Aries, that no matter what's going on in your outer world today, no matter what's going on in your outer world through the weekend, you're really making a decision to either have faith or not have faith, to either face your fear or not face your fear, to either surrender to spirit or not surrender to spirit, and you can see by all of these different planets that the line is pretty much final. One last note, Mars. Mars has moved to step 14. Now, step 14 is, I love and belong, therefore I think, okay? So people are taking that final line this weekend, and I think this is a severe cut. It basically is working with Neptune. Once people decide, it will be forever. So I think we'll find lives change and headlines come out next week as people make some really deep decisions that they really can't turn back on in this life. You'll have to come back, reincarnate, try again if you want to try. Anything else, my guys? Yeah, the last thing I just want to say is that today, just to give you a weekend forecast, you want to act on what you want to frequent today and tomorrow. Saturday, you want to love and trust you've done the right thing. And don't expect to feel normal until Sunday. That's when step 11 will rule, and that's when all the frequencies will come back into alignment. So you really got to self-nurture and be there for yourself through this back and forth moon in Libra until Sunday. All right? Anyone in my personal Sensei service, of course, I'll be coaching you the whole way. All right, my friends. Well, I'm so grateful for you logging in, and we're doing our best to broadcast live out here in San Francisco. I'll be doing a Love Fest about a week from now, 1 week from now, Friday night. I'll be putting out an email. So email us at help@soulgarden.tv if you're in the Bay Area and you'd like to meet in a restaurant or something and say hello. Otherwise, I'll be back next week with more. Until then, remember, I love you, friends, and live, love, be.